again. You guys, we're starting with some breaking news we just learned about a few minutes ago, and it starts with a state representative being indicted for fraud.
Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we're getting a bit of an early Christmas present here, as a Democrat lawmaker in the state of Georgia has officially been arrested and charged on 2 felony counts of defrauding the federal government and the American taxpayer. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this arrest can directly be attributed to Attorney General Pam Bondi, believe it or not, for putting the right people in the right place at the right time. Now, we're going to talk about all this, but be sure to like the video if you like seeing Democrats getting arrested and held accountable, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And speaking of early Christmas presents, be sure to visit MyPillow.com and use promo code Nick at checkout to save money on the best sleep products on the market. Ladies and gentlemen, what better gift can you give your family members than a better night's sleep? And right now there's a massive sale going on, a Christmas special for the 6-piece premium towel set, the Giza Dream Sheets, the premium MyPillows, the MySlippers, and the mattress topper. You can save up to 50% off all these items when you use promo code Nick, so act now before it's too late. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Sharon Henderson, the Georgia Democrat state legislator that was arrested on Monday morning and charged with defrauding the federal government. Henderson was indicted for COVID pandemic unemployment fraud. A federal grand jury charged Henderson with 2 counts of theft of government funds and 10 counts of making false statements. Now, this is the official statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Georgia. And I just want to read this section right here, which outlines exactly what she did. In June 2020, while a candidate for Georgia's House seat, Henderson allegedly applied for federal pandemic unemployment benefits, claiming that her current employer was Henry County Schools. Although Henderson had worked as a substitute teacher for Henry County Schools for only 5 days in 2018, almost 2 years prior, she had not worked for Henry County Schools since then. Additionally, the substitute teacher agreement Henderson signed in 2018 included an acknowledgement that substitute teachers are not eligible to draw unemployment wages. Nevertheless, Henderson allegedly stated in the application that she had worked for the school system throughout 2019 and as recently as March 10th, 2020. So not only did she sign an agreement that she would not be able to collect unemployment benefits in 2018, she actively, knowingly lied about the dates by which she was employed. She claimed that she had pay stubs as evidence of that employment in 2019 and that her place of employment was closed as a direct result of the COVID-19 public health emergency. She then allegedly submitted weekly certifications stating that she was unable to reach her place of employment because of a COVID-19 quarantine. She allegedly submitted 8 of those certifications in June 2021 after she was sworn in and serving as the state representative for District 113, which covers western Newton County and part of Covington, Georgia. Henderson allegedly collected $17,811 of pandemic unemployment benefits to which she was not entitled as a result of false statements in her application and weekly certifications. Now, just quickly here, I want to read the quotes from United States Attorney Theodore S. Hertzberg, whose office is bringing this case. He said, quote, "It is shocking that a public official would allegedly lie to profit from an emergency program designed to help suffering community members. Politicians who violate the public trust and steal from the needy to enrich themselves will be held accountable. Sharon Henderson allegedly chose greed over compassion by fraudulently obtaining funds meant to help those in need, some in her own Georgia House district. We remain committed to find those who take advantage of federal programs meant to help those truly in need. An important part of the mission of the U.S. Department of Labor Office of Inspector General is to investigate allegations of fraud involving unemployment insurance programs. We will continue to work with our law enforcement partners to aggressively investigate these types of allegations. Nobody is above the law, especially Georgia's elected officials." So it almost sounds like they're implying that more arrests could be coming as more active investigations are going on behind the scenes. So this is just your average Democrat, and this really exemplifies how they think and how they operate. We have a woman that worked for 5 days in the year 2018 and then proceeded to not do anything for the next 2 years. Then when COVID rolls around and everything gets shut down, all of a sudden, she's the hardest working person in the world, and she wants to collect from the American taxpayer. She was willing to fabricate and lie and make false statements despite the fact that she wrote on the dotted line her signature that she would not be eligible for any unemployment benefits when she worked as a substitute teacher. But that's not going to stop her from attempting to collect $18,000 from U.S. taxpayers, all the while running for office to represent the very people that she's stealing from. And ladies and gentlemen, it's important to note that this woman is still a lawmaker in the state of Georgia while facing these indictments, and whether or not she'll be removed is yet to be determined. Now, I want to bring your attention to something very important here, as I think it's really important to give credit where credit is due, because this arrest would not be happening if not for Attorney General Pam Bondi putting the right people in the right place at the right time. The U.S. Attorney's Office that's bringing this case is headed by Theodore S. Hertzberg, the acting U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia. Now, when Trump took office in January 2025, he told all of the Biden U.S. attorneys that were appointed under the Biden era to resign, which left a vacancy in this position. Then Pam Bondi took it upon herself to appoint Theodore S. Hertzberg, who served as the interim attorney for a 120-day period to fill that vacancy while we waited for Trump to put somebody up for nomination to be confirmed by the Senate and become the acting U.S. attorney for the Northern District of Georgia. However, Trump never put anybody up for nomination to fill that vacancy. So what happened was we actually got lucky because Pam Bondi's interim attorney served for 120 days, and then it became up to the courts to appoint a new U.S. attorney to fill that vacancy. And luckily, the courts decided just to keep Theodore S. Hertzberg in that position and make him the acting U.S. attorney. And now Theodore S. Hertzberg's office is bringing federal indictments against sitting Democrat lawmakers in the state of Georgia. So for all of you guys out there that really have skepticism around Pam Bondi and don't think she's doing a good job, we can at least thank her for this one, because if not for her, then that vacancy would have probably been filled by somebody that the courts decided, and that may not have been somebody willing to bring a case against a sitting Democrat. Now, in my opinion, the jury is still out on Pam Bondi as to whether or not she's a competent U.S. Attorney General or whether or not she needs to step down and be replaced. I think we need a little bit more time to make any determination on that, but in this very moment, I love her, because if not for her, we may not be getting the news that we are right now, that a sitting lawmaker in the state of Georgia has been charged and arrested on 2 felony counts and 10 counts of making false statements. That is big headline news, ladies and gentlemen. A major arrest, and hopefully there's more to follow. Now, if you like seeing corrupt politicians be arrested and held accountable for their crimes, then be sure to let me know by clicking that like button before you go. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and don't forget the big sale at MyPillow.com, where when you use promo code Nick, you can save a ton of money. Get your Christmas presents, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.